Hi, I'm Lina Alnadi. I'm a filmmaker based in London, and I've lived with Parosmia since October 2020. I'm currently in the middle of working on a short documentary about people like us, and I thought it could be useful to give you my top 5 tips on how to live with Parosmia. Tip number 1. Keep a list of your safe foods and triggers. Parosmia is very unpredictable and it works differently for everyone. So keeping tabs on that and managing your personal journal, if you will, is going to help you along the way. Appreciate that everyone is going through this differently. So you have to just monitor your own health and be aware of what's going on with your body. Parosmia is very hard because there isn't a rule book on how it works or why it works the way it does. It changes one day to the next one. So it's important that you do whatever you can do to help yourself manage that. Manage your own expectation and monitor your own journey. Tip number 2, keep tabs on your vitamin levels. You will be tempted to live in deficit simply because there will be a whole lot of foods you will have to avoid, and that's perfectly natural. Make sure that despite having to avoid a lot of foods, you still get in your nutrients. This can really creep up on you and ultimately damage your health. Go into this with awareness that you have to make your diet work for your body. Tip number 3, experiment when you can. It's important to give yourself some room for creative approach here because, like I've said, Parosmia works differently for everyone and there isn't any rhyme or reason. So, for example, the same ingredient can taste entirely differently depending on its pairing or the way it's been cooked or the acidity levels. So keep that in mind and try new things out. If you avoid certain foods, you have to introduce an alternative to make sure that you're having well-balanced meals. Tip number 4, trust yourself and be confident. Parosmia is invisible and it's not really understood. So you can't really expect people to be there for you unless you tell them what's going on. I remember when I first googled Parosmia, well, first of all, I didn't know what it was, so I was just googling why do I smell gasoline wherever I go, and ultimately obviously didn't lead anywhere, and it was very hard for me to explain to people around me what I'm going through. It's very easy to dismiss, and like I've said, it's very unpredictable, so what may work one day won't work the other. So just remember that despite it all, you have to trust yourself first and foremost and feel confident enough to ask for support from your friends and family. Tip number 5, seek help in the community. Join an online community, read positive stories, read recovery stories, just perk yourself up a little bit because you are not alone in this. And that's the most important thing. Don't get discouraged if something that works for everyone doesn't work for you. Everyone's journey is unique. So when I went online and actually spoke to people, I realized that first of all, it's very common right now. Second of all, it does get better. Third of all, once you have this community of people around you, it's so much easier to make fun of it, to exchange tips, to seek support. Speaking of unpredictability of parosmia, one thing I didn't expect at all is for tap water to smell horrendous. That is, and I've read now that there are loads of people who are experiencing that. And that's just not okay. How do you wash? How do you brush your teeth? There's a lot to consider here. And like I said, what helped me, sharing those stories, reading those stories, and at least knowing that I'm not alone in this. It is very encouraging and it's very optimistic to just follow someone else's journey and see, oh, it works. It does get better.